Sideline Squib. It's a long time coming. Steve, Andrew, what say you? This is the sideline, yeah. Funny, it's my time then. Put me in right now then. Squib, squib, boy. This is the sideline, Funny, it's my time then. Yeah. Put me in right now then. Squib, squib, boy. This is the Squib, info stick up to your ribs. Chips be coming with that dip. Go ahead, put it to your lips. My oh my, that is delish. Victory gon' taste like this. Y'all bought that big ol' boat, but these boys built you a bridge. Sit down and take notes. If you want you a trophy.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Sideline Squib. We are here. It's another Saturday night, and we're joined with our second half of the podcast, the DFS docket boys, Josh and Abe. What's going on, you two?
What's up, fellas?
What's good, guys?
Well, introduce yourself a little bit. I can. You guys are, let's see, from the city of Detroit. We have some.
Hold on.
What do you guys got going?
I live in Detroit. I'm from
Live
New York
in Detroit.
Let's not get this, convoluted at all. I'm a New Yorker.
We don't stake claim to him. All right, he's not ours. He just lives here.
All right, I'll take that. I will take that. So, why not? I mean, what are you guys, Josh? I guess not Abe. Josh, what's your feelings on Matt Stafford and Kenny G now? I mean, what's going on with your Lions?
Ooh, you know what? We're not going to be very good without them. But to be honest,
I don't know with them either.
I don't know we're going to be very good with them. So, tank for Trevor.
Yeah, and of course, Andrew, hanging out there. Co-host Andrew Lee. Hi again. What's going on, man? How are you?
Doing good. We got a chance to get out and about today. Weather wasn't too terrible. I hear it's pretty bad up in the Northeast. So we're thankful for some nice weather here in, I guess it's August now. So
yeah, it's already August. It's insane. Weather is it's swirling right now. The whole house has no internet. I'm on a different laptop than normal. Had to move some wires around. I have a hotspot going on the phone, but we're here. We're rolling. We're ready to go. We got the DFS docket and Sideline Squib teaming up to take this down. It's DFS season, guys. I mean, sports are back. We're into baseball. I mean, shoot, I have a golf, a baseball, a hockey, and a basketball lineup all going today. So some major sports are back. They had some complications with the COVID, but hopefully the protocols are keeping it under consideration going forward, and hopefully the NFL picks up on some of this. What are your guys' thoughts on what's going on? Do you think the NFL is going to hold itself together when it comes to policy and procedures of the COVID-19?
No, absolutely not.
I'm worried. Their policies don't make sense. I heard this: only up to 15 guys at a time can hang out. Well, that's a quick way to get COVID, if you ask me. I think the NBA is doing it right with this bubble, and I don't see how any sport survives without going into their own bubble, to be honest.
wouldn't it make sense from the NFL standpoint to do the bubble like in Vegas? Like just do it in that and just in that arena?
The problem is it's once a week, really. Maybe you throw in a Thursday and a Saturday and Monday here and there, but to schedule everybody so everybody stays healthy, not only the corona stuff, but just the physically healthy. It's not as simple in football as it is in basketball, where you can open up a stadium and realistically have two games going on at a time in different parts of the arena. They're not worried about fans. They're not worried about filling seats. So you go to your regular high school gym, you have two games going on at a time. So theoretically, they can do that for the NBA. With football, you don't have 3-4 football fields all in one place. And then you got to deal with the scheduling of, all right, well, they played Saturday, so they can't play Thursday now, and all those kinds of things. So it's going to be – the NFL, I think, is in trouble. And I heard from a doctor a couple weeks ago. I'm no doctor. I don't even play one on TV. But they basically said – they're not playing football this year. Like it's not going to happen. There's going to be another major outbreak where we're all doing this just because we need it inside of us. But realistically, I'd say there's a 25% chance the season even gets played.
Hey, well, that 25% chance, I'm taking it because I'm pretty sure we all play DFS every day, and the odds on DFS are worse than 25%. So I'm in. I'm optimistic. I'm going for it. But we are starting to see a few big names either getting put on the exempt list, which the NFL is kind of keeping that in secret, where the exempt list is they either have it or have came in contact with it. They're not coming out and saying, hey, this person tested positive like other sports did. So still some news to kind of figure out what there. But I know Andrew, one of our guys, Keyshawn Vaughn, just got put on that list. So now Tampa Bay's running back looks a little bit different. Is Rojo coming out and about? They just signed Shady McCoy. I don't know if he's going to be able to fit into Bruce Arians' offense, but what's next? What big name players are going to do it for their families next?
Well, Damian Williams opted out too, so like there's already been some of that
Damian
too,
Williams,
fantasy football aspect. And side note, before anybody catches me with a hot take on fantasy team advice, this podcast they did a Podpalooza thing where we did like buy or sell at ADP, and I definitely said Damian Williams was going to score more points than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That was 10 minutes before Damian Williams announced that he was opting out. So pardon me on that one. That was a hot take that did not age well very, very quickly.
I've gone CEH heavy in the Dynasty League. I've gone CEH heavy, and I'm validated finally.
Yeah. I don't think I have any shares.
Yeah, you should always feel validated when results over the process, right? That's what everybody says.
Hey, it's about that cash, baby. That's it. Nothing else.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still going to have his touches. I mean, it's still going to be taken away from DeAndre Washington and Darwin Thompson. But yes, it got a lot cleaner for CEH. But that's neither here nor there. I'm excited. Like, it's funny because like people get so upset with me on Twitter. Like, oh my god, you just hate CEH, blah blah blah. Because I'm a big J.K. Dobbins guy. It's like, bro, there's no one that wants CEH to succeed more than me. Okay, like I want him to be good. I'm just saying, for the price, I'll take J.K. Dobbins. Thanks.
So it's definitely the COVID-19 is definitely going to open up a lot of things for some commissioners out there as well, with how you're going to handle the IR spots and move people back and forth and whatnot. But overall, it's going to be a challenge. And I know for a fact that I've been looking for a new challenge, which is why I'm playing Dynasty Owner Fantasy Football this season. Dynasty Owner Fantasy Football unites the fun and excitement of fantasy football with the skill and strategy of the front office. Dynasty Owner is the only way to play fantasy football with real NFL salaries, adding strategy of the running an NFL franchise. Dynasty Owner provides a unique challenge for diehard fantasy football fanatics. So swing over to dynastyowner.com/squib. Leagues are forming now, and sign up. That's dynastyowner.com/squib. Andrew, you and I are in the expert league next week. 2 weeks from now, we'll be drafting. That is a whole different concept of a league, and it's right down the alley of kind of what's going on now. You have to draft in so many different ways. You have to worry about contract length, contract costs, and everything that's going on there. And that's kind of where we're going to go with today's episode, guys. We're going to touch on some sleepers at each position, and not just Carson Wentz is a sleeper. No, we're going to go 10th round or more. So that's 120 ADP or higher. And we're going to talk about some guys that can really be impacted this season if the season happens or when the season happens, and can kind of lead your team on to the championship. So, Abe, let's go ahead and start with you at the quarterback position. Give me a sleeper that's on your radar going into this year.
So my guy's a guy that, got the big contract. My guy's Teddy Bridgewater. Got a big contract to be the guy in Carolina. There's no competition. There's no threat of him losing his job. And he's got all the pieces around him. We all talk about Christian McCaffrey. He's the easy 101. Redraft, dynasty, startup, whatever it is. He's the easy 101, no questions asked. And a lot of his game is the passing game. Well, those passing yards still go to Teddy Bridgewater. DJ Moore, breakout guy. I love DJ Moore this year. All those passing yards going to go from Teddy Bridgewater. Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson. Like, they have so many weapons around him. To me, it's different than certain other younger quarterbacks that have a lot of weapons around them, where Teddy Bridgewater is more of a proven commodity in the sense of we've seen what he can do when he took over with a good team in New Orleans, with a good offense around him, with a good head coach. And I think he's got a pretty good head coach in Matt Rule coming over from Baylor. We've seen in Minnesota what he can do when healthy. He's not going to be a big play guy to Robbie Anderson down the field, but the threat of Robbie Anderson is going to help him with guys like DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel, and with Christian McCaffrey coming out of the backfield.
Yeah, I agree. What are your thoughts on Matt Rule? I don't know if you know this either, but Matt Rule coached at Temple when Robbie Anderson was there. So there's that little bit of, old coach, old player. So maybe there's going to be a few plays to get him more involved as well. I mean, he wasn't a bad player when he was with the Jets. He just didn't get that opportunity with the weapons around him.
Yeah, he was looked at to be the number one guy with the Jets for the last few years. He was still an undrafted free agent, so it's not like he's a high draft pick. Had that capital. He was an undrafted free agent, and the best thing that's going for him is that go route. Like that's what he's best at. He just outruns people, and he's 6'2". He gets over the top on them. He's thin, but he's a taller dude, and he can run down the field straight faster than almost anybody in the league. The problem with the Jets is they also needed him to run every route in the route tree because they had no other players that were legitimate NFL wide receivers. Now going to Carolina, he's going to have that single coverage. They won't be able to throw the safety over the top because you got to cover DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel and keep an eye on the box on Christian McCaffrey coming out of the backfield. So Anderson can have big games. I don't see him having a great season overall fantasy-wise because I don't see the consistency going to be there. But he's going to be Ted Ginn with more talent. He's going to be that guy that can easily go for 2 for 84 and a score every single week. He won't give you 9 catches for 80 yards. That's not who he is. He's not Jarvis Landry. But he'll give you those big plays. And with those big plays coming over the top, that opens up the rest of the middle of the field for more talented receivers than Samuel and DJ Moore.
Yeah, all which benefits Teddy Bridgewater as a sleeper pick, which is a great value. If you can get a starting quarterback like that, who, I mean, we all saw what he did when he filled in for Drew Brees, led them, kept them right in the running for everything going on when he was in New Orleans, and that's what got him onto this contract. So I like that pick. I think that Teddy B could be a very good value pick late in the draft, especially if you drafted, now until the season starts before some of his.
You didn't expect a crappy pick out of me. Come on. So, Josh, let's slide over to you. What are you thinking at the quarterback position? Anyone catch your eye in the 10th round or later?
Yeah, I'm seeing Joe Burrow coming in at about QB 20 in a lot of ADPs. Obviously, he's a rookie. Obviously, he's coming in to a team in Cincinnati with kind of a little bit of a shaky offensive line. But Jonah Williams is back, first-round pick at the left tackle position. And this guy just has weapons. I mean, you look at Joe Mixon. He can catch the ball. We all know what Gio can do catching the ball. A.J. Green, future Hall of Famer, if he can stay healthy. John Ross, if he can stay healthy. Tyler Boyd, we know, can do it. Then when all these guys get hurt, we saw a guy last year, Auden Tate, come in. I mean, the weapons are there, not to mention T. Higgins, who I think has a little bit of a separation problem, but again, an early round pick who should just add to the weapons that Joe Burrow has. It's all there for him. And here's the other thing that we need, guys. He is on a team with just an absolute crap defense. They're going to be throwing the ball right and left trying to stay in games. He's got kind of a tough schedule in the beginning. It scares me a little bit. Also, the fact that he's a rookie. Like I said, you just never know what you're going to get out of a first-year quarterback. But, I mean, we all know that Joe Burrow can sling it. Whether Abe wants to admit it or not, we know it. He can play, and he's got the weapons, and I'm excited for him. I really think that he's kind of got the perfect storm to really step in and possibly be a top 12, top 10 guy this coming year.
Yeah, definitely.
He's gonna have to reach for sure.
Yeah, coming in, you're already going to have that draft capital. You're going to have if he can get the weight off of his shoulders of being the number 1 overall pick and coming in there and trying to prove something, and he can just sit back and be, what we think he can. Remember, it's a small sample size because, when he was backing up in Ohio State, moved on to LSU, won the national title. I mean, he's already making the career steps that he needs. I mean, I read a report the other day that he got off the phone with Peyton Manning about how to manage his money, how that he shouldn't spend a single game check, and that should just sit in his account and accrue and only live off of your endorsements. As a 21-year-old kid, you don't think like that. If you're getting a $30 million contract, the first thing I'm doing isn't like, let me put this into a 3% interest account, Right. So it seems like he has the mindset.
Buy some Microsoft stock.
Yeah.
Accountant.
Yeah, he's got the mindset there, I think, already to be a good player. He's reaching out to the right people, and I'm loving what I see in Joe Burrow, in the small sample size in LSU. And you're right, he's going into a lot of weapons into Cincinnati. Believe it or not,
Can I make an argument against Joe Burrow?
Let's hear it.
Just because you don't like Joe Burrow, we'll go for it.
All right. So here's the thing. First of all, look, the dude had the greatest quarterback season from a college football player ever. No question about it, right? But
we're going to hold that against him.
But up until that point, he was an absolute nobody. All right, that's one. He had a full NFL team built around him also. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase would have been the first drafted receiver coming out this year as well. Monster offensive line, great running game, great defense. So let's slow that roll a little bit out of what happened in college. But on top of that, you guys all mentioned it. Who the hell's calling me an old man? You guys mentioned the weapons around him, right? Joe Mixon is an elite running back. But after that, what's his receiving game? AJ Green, who didn't play last year, we don't, he's already a little older with an injury history. We don't know what he's going to be. Tyler Boyd, okay, I'll give you a little bit of Tyler Boyd, but he's by no means even a Pro Bowler, let alone a great weapon. And then what? John Ross, who was so bad coming out that they wanted to move him.
Higgins.
Okay, but he's a rookie. You're going to tell me he's got this great weapons with a second round receiver?
Bro, but
I can't see
the problem there is you're going with I'm just gonna say all these guys suck when they really don't. I mean, AJ Green is a Hall of Famer. If he's gonna play, he's gonna ball.
No doubt. But last time you saw AJ Green?
When he's healthy, imagine with Joe Burrow's arm slinging it downfield to a guy with John Ross's speed. I mean, and like we said, both backs can catch. If he ever does need to check down, if that offensive line is a little bit loose, Gio's there, Mixon's there. Those are guys that are made for a pocket collapsing on a guy. So I mean, look, is he throwing to just the best of the best? No, but the thing for a young guy like Burrow is he might not have the absolute best receivers, but he's got a real deep stable of receivers, and I think that's really going to help him out.
So just about every team outside of a couple teams like the Jets and maybe the Lions, who really only have Kenny Galladay and not maybe a Marvin Jones, but besides those couple,
maybe I was gonna say Marvin Jones has been very solid too.
Dude, he's so inconsistent. Whatever, bro. Listen, besides a few teams in the league, every team has good receivers that you can say, yeah, they got good depth. They got a bunch of weapons around them, but you really need to see it, firsthand to see how good is T. Higgins actually going to be. Can John Ross, year 4 or 5, whatever he is in now, actually do something? Like I don't see it. Can AJ Green come back from this injury? He's not young anymore. He's 31, 32 years old. And I don't even think he wants to be with Cincinnati. He doesn't want to be part of a rebuild. So how much of AJ Green are you actually going to get at this point?
I just think sticking to the topic of sleepers, like I think Josh is on par here with if you're going to wait on quarterback, like Joe Burrow isn't going to – he's not going to get benched for having a bad game. So he's not going to get benched for 3 bad games in a row.
He's streamable. I'll give you that.
He's going to have a floor because of the volume that they're going to assume that he's going to have to throw with every single week because that team's going to be trailing most of the year. So, like, I just think that from a fantasy standpoint, whether you think Joe Burrow is going to be, Sam Darnold or Daniel Jones or Lamar Jackson, it doesn't really matter. It matters like what his fantasy output is going to be, and at this point, he's going to have the volume just based on the schedule and looking at like what their team is made up of. So I think Joe Burrow actually makes a little bit of sense that late in the game.
Didn't they say the same thing though about Derek Carr when he was drafted by the Texans? The first year that they were in existence, that they're going to suck, so he's going to have to throw the ball all around. But that offensive line was so bad.
David Carr, the bad Carr, the really bad. I was going to say Carr.
Derek Carr,
but broken down Carr.
It's the same crap. Listen, but they said the same thing about him that he's going to have to throw the ball all around all the time, and his offensive line was just so bad, similar to Cincinnati, that he couldn't even have 1, 2, 3 seconds in the pocket to even get the ball.
I'll go out on a limb and say that Joe Burrow is going to be better than David Carr. If that's a hot take, I'll go ahead and I'll mark myself down for that hot take. It's just I think Joe Burrow is more talented.
I'm going on record with that.
I'll go ahead. If you want to go ahead and screen grab or auto record, whatever. Yes, you heard it here first. Do or die nasty. Andrew has actually said. I think that's too low of a bar to be expecting, especially in today's NFL.
No, I'm not comparing the two as players or what it can be. All I'm saying is, you have first overall quarterbacks, and they come out. You expect their team to suck. Their offensive lines generally suck. Their defenses generally suck. The reason they're picking first overall. except for the Rams that made that trade up, and you have your couple.
It worked out well for them, I guess. Huh?
And went to a Super Bowl. Golf sucks, but they went to a Super Bowl, so it's worth it. But yeah, they're like, I just don't know if Burrow's going to be able to stay upright enough to be a viable starting quarterback.
He might not, but look, I think Jonah Williams coming back is a huge upgrade for the O-line. And
he's healthy.
Yeah. I mean, again, he's not coming to a Super Bowl contender, but a team with a terrible defense, as we keep saying, he's going to be slinging that ball a lot. And fantasy-wise, I think that's what you're looking for.
Yep.
All right, so we're a little back and forth on Joe Burrow here, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump in on mine just because I want to hear you keep going, Abe. And then we'll get over to Andrews, but mine could be quick. I like Drew Lock as a sleeper. Drew Lock,
yeah,
he's in one of those ones. He's 1406, quarterback 23, but much to the point of Abe, or I guess much to the point of Josh against devil's advocate of Abe. There is, I believe that Drew Lock has not only the weapons around him, even though they are young, he has the weapons around him to succeed. I think he has the playmakers that you can do quick releases, get the ball out of your hands, let the players make the runs, make them make the moves, get it into the playmakers' hands. But just in their division alone, they're going to have to keep up with the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Raiders. There's a lot of teams that you're going to have to keep up with just in your own division that I think there's going to be a lot of scoring opportunities for Drew Lock, especially if he can come into the quarterback that he was starting to come the end of the year.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, talking about weapons, I mean, we all assume Jerry Jeudy's going to be great, but if we're talking about the weapons between Cincy and Denver, give me Cortland Sutton all day as the number one out of all those guys. I mean, that guy can ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Plus, KJ Hamler and John Ross are very similar, and I take the younger guy in KJ Hamler.
Yeah, I'll take KJ Hamler too. Yeah, and then you have the tight end situation is far supreme to theirs. I mean,
absolutely,
wholeheartedly better than that. And then the passing, you talk about running backs who can catch or have shown they can catch. Phillip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon are above average in that regard. So yeah, that's an easy slam dunk. Drew Lock that late as your QB2 or. If you're late round quarterback type guy, it's definitely one of those guys you can stream all year. I think it's one of those no brainer if he falls that far. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of Drew Lock hate though on Twitter for sure. There's one or two fan.
I'm not a Lock fan. I like the weapons around him a lot more than what I like in Cincinnati though.
I mean, I've seen too many games of Drew Lock to know that arm talent is legit. Like if he has time to throw the ball, which he should in that offense. I mean, other than their left.
You're gonna hate me. You're gonna hate me for this, but Jamarcus Russell can also throw the ball.
Yeah, Jamarcus Russell didn't look at the tape either.
Jamarcus Russell
was tasked to watch tape over a weekend. Came back talking about what blitz pickups there were, and those were blank tape.
Blank tape. I love that story.
That's just a dumbass. Like that's not Drew Lock.
You can throw the ball 70 yards from his knees.
That's great. So can Patrick Mahomes. The two have very different career trajectories. So
I'm just bringing up arm talent. That's all.
I'm just saying. Yeah. We're gonna get into deep balls and things like that. Who would you say if I were to give you an opportunity to guess here? Who would you say has the most 60-yard completions since 2015?
I would probably guess Mahomes. No, not Brady.
Since 2015.
No,
since 2015, Mahomes?
Breeze.
No way.
Drew Brees, I would say.
Drew Brees? What do you got?
Keep Matt Stafford.
Good guess.
Matt
probably
Ryan.
Maybe Aaron Rodgers.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, that makes sense.
13. Second is Ben Roethlisberger at 12. Eli Manning at 11. Derek Carr with 11 as well, which was a little surprising. Well, yeah. Anyways, Kirk Cousins, QB 2021 coming off the board at 171 overall, has the third highest QB passer rating, went with a scoring margin within 3 points at 108.4. The dude is severely underrated when it comes to quarterback efficiency and quarterback play. And to get him in an offense that has Justin Jefferson, has Adam Thielen, has Dalvin Cook, has Irv Smith. Like, those are all very viable weapons when it comes to fantasy production and what they should be able to do in a dome. So I just feel comfortable if that's going to be my quarterback that late in the draft. That's just ridiculous value.
He's so
and a lot of people are down on him that, always have been. Like, I'm one of them. I'm like, oh man, am I really going to take Kirk Cousins here?
Just Kirk Cousins, yeah.
But like, you're right. He's one of those guys. It's almost like his floor is always there. But then you see those games where he throws, what was that, week 2 last year, where he threw 3 passes the whole game or something when Dalvin Cook was just running and running and running.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh man. And now losing Stephon Diggs, it's an Adam Thielen. I think Justin Jefferson fits in well there. Irv Smith, Kyle Rudolph is a very good tangent at tight end. And then of course I can't wait for Alexander Madison to get his turn. So I'm on board with the.
I want to give you one more stat that's just mind-boggling to me. All right, so in the last 2 years, Deshaun Watson and Carson Wentz have combined for 9 40-yard touchdown passes. Kirk Cousins has 9 by himself.
That's a big team with Minnesota. Like, the way their play action and with the guys that they have that can go deep. It's not as surprising as it is that Kirk Cousins is just such a boring person.
So boring. But do you like that, though? Do you like that?
He play for the Cleveland Browns. He's so boring. Like, that's who he is. But they have the way that they're built is that heavy run game and then that play action where the safeties are up in the box. And you got, Diggs is gone now, but between Jefferson and Thielen, you got legitimate top quality receivers that can get behind defense.
Yep.
So it makes sense. I get it.
And I know we're
love
talking sleepers a little bit.
Go ahead, Josh.
We're talking sleepers, Joe. I expect Irv Smith to take a leap forward this year.
Kyle Rudolph.
He's probably number 2 on the depth chart still, with Rudolph still being there. And Rudolph just signed the extension last year, but I expect Smith. Again, he was a guy that really there were some high expectations for this guy, and I think that this could be the year where he really takes a step forward. So there's weapons there for Cousins, that's for sure.
Hey, don't quote me on this. I'm going to look it up for sure. But I remember Evan Silva this time last year talking about how it was the fakest extension you could ever give to someone. I think they have 0 dead money after this year. I'm pretty sure Minnesota has 0 dead money if they were to cut Kyle Rudolph either in this season or next year. Yeah, I want to look it up, and I'll do so whenever we can. But I'm pretty sure. So yeah, he might enter the season as number 2 on the depth chart. But I'm pretty sure he had the same amount of red zone targets as Kyle Rudolph did last year as well. Yeah. They're basically the same. They're getting the same kind of use.
They go 12 personnel sometimes. Pretty often. So that's where you could see him shine.
Yeah, with his size too, you can even slide him out a little bit too. So break him off the line a little bit. So I think we got some pretty good ones at the quarterback position coming around. 10th rounds, it gets funky. When you're in a league and when you're in a startup, no matter what it is, you get to that 10th round, you need to. It's at that point where you're past you're not so much taking the flyers yet, but you need to make a solid choice, a solid pick going forward. And once you get to the running backs in the 10th round, like most leagues, it is very scarce. There is not much less. It is, in most formats, running backs fly off the board. So we're talking 10th round or later running backs. Abe, start us off. What are you seeing here? Because I'm not seeing too many.
There's very little. My guy was going to be Antonio Gibson, but he started to raise in the ranks that I think he's a little out of where, the realm of where even discussing. So as much as it sickens me, I'm picking Damian Harris.
It's nice. Yeah, I think that's a good choice. I don't believe
Sony Michel. Yeah, we don't know what Sony Michel is going to be. James White, really, his whole game has been out of the passing game with Tom Brady, so we don't know what it's going to be with Cam Newton. I think Damian Harris by the end of the year is the number 1 back in New England, and anytime you can get a starting running back this late in the draft, it's almost a necessity to grab him.
I don't know if I would say he's going to be the number 1 running back because I don't know if they're going to have a number 1 running back. If it's not Sony Michel, I think it'll just literally be whoever made Bill Belichick the happiest that week, whether it be Rex Burkhead or James White or whatever, happiest. But Damien Harris is a legit. I mean, that's at least worth a handcuff at that point. It's definitely a sleeper enough for me to take a stab at. What was his ADP? Do you have that in front of you?
He was like 40 something.
It's crazy because he was a healthy scratch for half the season.
Yeah. He was a third-round pick last year.
Yeah, like they got capital invested in him. It's just they didn't use him at all like they would. But this would be the year. I mean, supposedly they're tanking, right? Like Bill Belichick's known for his tanking.
Just assuming that he opts in because that entire team is opting out.
Yeah, I mean where there's smoke, there's fire. I feel like, and Bill Belichick's a pretty smart guy. I just feel like he's not going to give that advice unless maybe this isn't really going to happen. You know, maybe
Damien Harris right now is at 132, right behind Duke Johnson and right ahead of Justin Jackson.
Well, weird because that's where I'm going with mine, Justin Jackson. We'll just stay right around that same bubble, and it's not one. Like I said, it's very minimal at the running back position. Justin Jackson's one to me that I was back and forth between him and Damien Harris as it was. I started to go because I just don't know what's going to go on in New England. It's kind of running back by committee, or at least what we think it's going to be. And Justin Jackson really is only sitting behind Austin Eckler, coming at the 11-10, running back 53. He's only 24 years old. When he got his opportunity, he shined. I'm just very curious to see what they do with Austin Eckler after signing to the big deal, moving on from Melvin Gordon. I'm hoping that gives more carries and more touches to Justin Jackson, especially within the 20s, kind of being a little bit bigger guy than Austin Eckler was. But I don't have much. If I'm going sleeper, I'm going to take my shot on Justin Jackson at that point and hope that he gets those red zone touches and plays a little bit more now with the exiting of Melvin Gordon.
Who do you got, Josh?
So it pains me to say this because I don't like this team. I really don't like him as a player. But if I'm sitting there in the 10th round and a guy like Tariq Cohen is there for me, and I'm in a league that gives you any sort of points for a reception, either it's half point or full point, I don't think you can go wrong with a guy like a Tariq Cohen in the 10th, 11th round. I mean,
as long as he maintains that running back eligibility.
Right. If he does, but he's playing behind a guy like David Montgomery, who I'm big on efficiency. He is just so inefficient, and I think that's the type of thing that smart NFL coaches pick up on. I think they're going to give him another chance to really, be the bell cow there, for lack of a better term. But I don't think he's going to actually do anything with that job. And I think a guy like Nagy, that could really wear thin on his patience. Now, I don't know what Matt Nagy is doing with that offense, because you look at a guy like Tariq Cohen, who last year had 79 catches for under 500 yards. And the year before that, Tariq Cohen had less catches for for over 700 yards. I expect it to be kind of somewhere in the middle with the same amount of catches. So if I can get a guy that late who's going to give me 70 plus catches and maybe give me, around 600 yards receiving, plus whatever gravy you can add on from the running game, I'll take it. Now, the other thing that I like about it is that it's not Trubisky, presumably, throwing him the ball. It's a guy like Foles, who Foles isn't that great, but he's more accurate than a guy like Trubisky is. He's also a lot less athletic. So where you would usually have a guy like Mitch, tuck and run, you're not going to get that out of Foles. He's going to look to dump off. And the guy who's going to be standing there to catch those dump offs is a guy like Tariq Cohen. Is he going to win you a league? No, he's not. But if I have a couple injuries and I have to play him as my RB2 or more, hopefully, as a flex, I think that's a guy that you can get some good production out of, towards the end of the draft.
I like it.
I got breaking news. The Chicago Bears just announced that Tariq Cohen is going to be a tight end.
Yeah, that's literally. I thought that's where you were going to go with the whole, I don't know what Matt Nagy's doing on offense. Like, I don't know. I guess they were just going to sign all the tight ends and play them at universal position. Just line them up.
Jimmy Graham can still throw the ball.
Yeah. Jimmy Graham's a starting quarterback now.
Jesus. I don't know. I don't know what that maybe I don't really, there's no logical explanation for having that many tight ends on a roster. I don't get it. He's like, this is a tight end premium league, right?
No way. You're going to have a first round pick. Let's make sure we use our first pick on a mediocre tight end. On a mid-round tight end. That's great. Good eval. For me,
I'm going to take massive upside when it comes to this late in the. I'm assuming at this point in the draft, I would have already locked in my 2 running backs, maybe even a 3rd running back by this point. And so at this point, I'm looking at Chase Edmonds, who's actually the real running back to own in Arizona, not Kenyon Drake, but we'll get to that later. Chase Edmonds is on an Arizona team that's like literally filthy when it comes to being able to run the ball. They spread you out just like you would in college, and then they just find the hole and they give it off in these little zone read stuff. So for Chase Edmonds, he was on the most inefficient red zone team of 2019 in Arizona Cardinals. And he still had a couple games where he went over 100 yards, a couple games where he had multiple touchdowns. Kenyon Drake, before Kenyon Drake was there, Chase Edmonds was going to be the back to own. And they go and get Kenyon Drake. And if Kenyon Drake doesn't pan out or he plays like he did in Miami, Chase Edmonds will be the one to own. And even if he's not, it could be a running back by committee type situation. And we're already dealing with a COVID situation. We're already dealing with that kind of stuff. So having a handcuff that talented in Chase Edmonds, the only other one I'd be interested in at that late of a handcuff would be Tony Pollard. Those are the only 2 guys that I would feel similar about their ceilings if they were to fall into lead roles for their teams. I mean, the Arizona Cardinals in the red zone kicked 16 field goals last year. By far the most. And they were in the red zone so few times because of how inefficient that offense was. We all expect them to be more efficient with DeAndre Hopkins. We all expect them to be more efficient with second year with Kyler Murray, second year with Cliff Kingsbury. It only makes sense to get the handcuff and maybe turns out to be the RB1 on that offense in general.
The difference between Chase Edmonds and Tony Pollard, though, is I think Tony Pollard's a better player than Chase Edmonds, but Zeke Elliott, right, very, very minute. But Zeke Elliott is the guaranteed number 1 guy in Dallas, no questions asked, forever. Where Kenyon Drake had a really good 5-6 game stretch with Arizona, and he's on a 1-year deal right now. So
yeah, they're not tied to him.
Right. So if he the first 2-3 weeks doesn't show up, all right, we got nothing to lose by putting in Chase Edmonds instead. Mm-hmm. I'm 100% with you there.
Yep. And it's like he's going after Damian Harris. He's going after those guys you already mentioned. I mean, he's right there in that same area, but like people are so high on Kenyon Drake that they've just forgotten about Chase Edmonds. So
yep.
All right. Well, we hit the halfway between quarterbacks and running backs. So I want to take this time, Andrew, to talk about Thrive Fantasy. Thrive Fantasy is our newest sponsor, and Gabe Gearing, the guy who hooked us up with our intro and hooked up with your intro, actually hit pretty big on it the other night. So very interesting to see. Really? If you need it, swing over to Thrive.
Hey guys, I wanted to take a second and talk about our sponsor, Thrive Fantasy, the up-and-coming fantasy sports app where you can take your prop bets into the DFS style. It's a pretty sweet little thing, so make sure you guys head over to thrivefantasy.com or check out their app. Use promo code SQUIB, that's SQUIB, when you sign up today, and you'll receive an instant $20 match on your first deposit of $20 or more. You can download the Thrive Fantasy app at the App Store or on the Play Store by visiting their website at www.thrivefantasy.com. Sign up to prop up today.
So thanks to Thrive Fantasy app. It is up and coming DFS with prop bets. It's pretty cool. But guys, that leads us into our next little question here we'd like to do with all of our guests, somewhere in the middle. So Josh, Abe, over or under, are you taking Jonnu Smith at an ADP of 150?
Ooh. Josh, you can go first while I think about this.
Hey, hold on. Before you do that, clarify the rules. Over or under as in over 150 ADP? Like you would take it before 150?
No.
Under
so where would you take him? Would you take him with the 149th pick or the 151 pick? Like over under?
Gotcha.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go
Sure.
ahead. You're the lawyer. You're smarter than I am.
Yeah, go, Josh.
Okay, so using my lawyer skills, I'm a big Jonnu Smith guy, but in a lot of my leagues, I'm not sure that other people would, and I think I could wait on him. Now, I think you're going to get production out of him. I think if you are the type of guy that goes a little bit early, you might have those idiots in your league that go, who the hell is that? Or, oh, yeah, nice pick. And I think it is going to be a nice pick. I think he is a super athletic guy. I really like him, and I think that I think a tight end with a Ryan Tannehill quarterback can succeed. I think his kind of little gimmicky get out of the pocket, but doesn't exactly have the biggest arm. I think tight ends can get open with Ryan Tannehill, and I think obviously Derrick Henry is number 1 there. AJ Brown is number 2, but in terms of options. But I think he could do a lot worse than a Jonnu Smith. And I think if you can wait and, pick up your starting tight end in the, 10th, 11th round, I think he's going to be a top 12 option at the end, a top 12 player at the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm taking him later than 150. At 150, you're right around the 12th and a half round range, 12th, 13th round range in the 12-team league. I'll take him later than that. Because if he's still there later in the 13th, 14th, okay, great. If he's not, I'm perfectly content with an Ian Thomas, with an Eric Ebron, with guys that have big touchdown upside, similar to John Newsom. Yeah, you're a big fan of Eric Ebron, yeah, Josh.
I'll tell you about Eric Ebron when we're off air.
The position in general, it's a high touchdown upside type of position. Like even a Kyle Rudolph who showed last year that he can still score touchdown. He'll go 2 for 12 with 2 touchdowns though. So like those guys are being taken so late that I'm not going to reach for Jonnu Smith when I can get a very similar kind of player, a round or 2 later.
I like it. So
I don't think the volume is there. The volume there isn't intriguing enough for me.
No, over 150. He's currently going at 156 with a 1307 round pick. So I think you guys nailed that on the head. I'm going to jump one more. Let's go wide receiver Robbie Anderson. Over under pick 195.
That's so late. I probably have to take him earlier than that because he's a big play threat. He's going to put up weeks where he's not going to be very consistent, but he's going to put up weeks where he's scoring 2 touchdowns with 143 yards. It's going to be on 4 catches, but that he's going to put up those games like in a best ball right now. Absolutely love Robbie Anderson earlier than that. But
everybody loves him in a best ball.
Yeah, absolutely. But like in a regular redraft where, if DJ Moore or Curtis Samuel misses a little bit of time, now Anderson slots into a more productive role where he's still not the absolute number 1 go-to because you got McCaffrey there. So he'll still slot in he's a really nice handcuff at that point. But even without that, I think he's got the value higher than 195.
I'm not taking him any earlier than that. We talk about DJ Moore being the wide receiver 1 on that team, but we all know who the real wide receiver 1 on that team is, and it's Christian McCaffrey. Then it's DJ Moore. Then maybe it's Samuel, maybe it's not. But there's, you're talking about volume on Jonnu Smith. I don't think Robbie Anderson's going to see a lot of volume. I just don't. Now, as Abe said, he's going to have games. There's going to be, 4 catches for 160 yards and two touchdowns. But, overall, that's not what you're going to get out of the guy. That's certainly not going to be the consistent stat line on him. And I just think that he's sort of on the bottom of that totem pole when it comes to mouths to feed at this point.
All right, so we have one of each. I want to give you one little quick nugget here and let me know if it changes your mind. Curtis Samuel is currently going at 194. So final answers, you taking Robbie Anderson 195 before or after?
Yeah, I'm sticking where I'm at. I like Samuel more than Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, I'm taking Samuel over Robbie.
Give me Kurt all day.
Yeah, I'm taking Curtis.
Yeah.
Just Robbie
Anderson
too. I think
in July DLF, Robbie Anderson is going 2 picks ahead of Curtis Samuel. So under would be the correct answer there for Robbie Anderson at 1 whatever.
So people are got it backwards.
So yeah,
people are asking Robbie Anderson.
It's do you want the guy that can probably give you more catches, or do you want the guy that can give you more yards and more touchdowns? That's what it comes down to with those 2 guys.
So hopefully, again, guys, thanks Thrive Fantasy out there. If you're not into it yet, go check it out. Thrive Up, Prop Up, swing over to thrivefantasy.com. Use code Squib. Get yourself a $20 deposit or $20 match bonus with your $20 deposit. Pretty cool stuff. It's a different way to play.
Super cool.
Some DFS. So,
hey, can I give that also? Let me give out one promo also that's going to affect all of us before we move on to the other positions. We do have our Sideline Squib DFS docket, our listener/writers league that we're starting this year, and we're looking for 3. We got 3 spots left, right? And we're not just giving them away for free. And we're running a couple contests. So to get in, I'll tell you our way. Andrew, Steve, you describe your way, but to get in on our way, to be eligible, go to our Twitter page at DFS_docket. Check out our twin Pete. That's not even English. Our pinned tweet. Yeah, you can edit that out. I appreciate it, bro.
He's a cap.
Yeah. Hey, don't worry about it, okay?
You love that Detroit accent, huh?
Yeah. Hey, don't worry about it. All right, check out that pinned tweet. I said it right that time. And all the rules are there. That's how you find out how to enter into our listener league through our show.
Maybe let's make a contest out of it. If they can guess how long,
how much you weigh,
how long it's taken us to do a mock draft. With that setting of no time limit. Real good one, Abe.
Yeah, that was
a good
solid setup with that. That was great. Good job. Man.
Oh, yeah. So there are
alert,
3.
It's a really long time.
3 spots left in the Sideline Squib DFS docket, writers, staff league, listener league, whatever you want to call it. There's 3 spots left. Andrew, I believe
it's not a free like league. It's a $20 league. We're covering your entry for $20. Like literally coming out of my pocket, I'm going to cover your entry. All you have to do is either follow Abe's crazy advice, like if you followed all of that, tweening and stuff, or you could do a more simple process and just go to Sideline Squib's podcast on Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review or any review, but preferably 5-star review if you want in. 5-star review, screenshot it, send it to either myself, Steve, whatever, in any of our DMs, and we will get you your sleeper app invitation to the league. So right now, I mean, it's all of us in there, the entire Sideline Squib staff, hands team, and then there's a couple other listeners that are already in there because they've done the work up front to get themselves invited in. So you have a chance of winning real money just by leaving a simple review or by going to DFS_docket and following the pinned tweet.
Say that 5 times fast, okay?
Pinned tweet, pinned tweet, pinned tweet, pinned tweet, pinned tweet. Is that 4 or 5?
All right. You know, when you write with a bird.
Waking up right now.
When you write with a bird, it's called tweeting.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right. So let's moving on, Abe. We're gonna keep you going here. You're on a roll. Let's jump into your wide receivers. 10th round or later. Give me a wide receiver you're targeting going into this season that you'd like to have on your team.
I am all in on Hunter Renfro this year. That dude is a slot machine. The receptions he's going to get with that team is just going to go up and up and up. We saw it when he was healthy last year, the relationship he had with Derek Carr. Like, they are so on point. We saw it with him in college. Look, Hunter Renfro looks like he's 45 years old, and I get that. But legitimately, he's like 23, 24. He played 4 years with Deshaun Watson at Clemson. He was already balding at that point, but he was the exact same player, that slot guy that was so reliable. And he continues to do that with the Raiders. He's going to put up huge numbers week in and week out, especially from a PPR standpoint. He's going to be putting up 8 to 10 catches every single game, I think.
I love it. I mean, I don't know what else. I don't know even which way to go with it because I
felt like you stole that one from Steve. I feel like Steve's like, God damn.
Right. He's like,
I knew I shouldn't have let him go first. I knew I
No, it's one of those weird ones because of course I want to see the success of a Raiders player. I question if the volume's going to be there of what they're going to do with their offensive scheme. Obviously, they just went out and got Ruggs first round. He's going to be on the field. You still have Tyrell Williams. He's going to be their veteran presence on the field as well. But the kicker to me between Renfro and Bryant Edwards is I believe Bryant Edwards is an NFL style receiver, but he may not be ready this year. And that's why I love that Hunter Renfro pick. Coming off his foot.
Ruggs, I know. Sorry to cut you off, Steve. Josh has a hard on for Henry Ruggs. But Ruggs is going to help Renfro in a big way because he's going to be that speed, that John Ross guy that we talked about.
Correct.
The guy that's going to take 2 safeties over the top. He's so fast.
Yep.
And what's that going to do in the middle of the field for Hunter Renfro? Not only is he going to have those catches, but he's going to have all that room to run after also.
Yeah, I do. I do like it. And I could easily see Bryant Edwards taking Tyrell Williams' job.
Yes, absolutely.
And working that way as well. So I love it from a fan and a whatever pick. So
Yep.
From an analyst standpoint.
I tilted.
I was going to say that, but it's so weird saying that. I'm like,
Yeah. Analyst.
Aren't you guys in an expert league now?
we are
in an expert
Thank
league.
you very much. Scott Fishbowl, hashtag SFBX. Thank you.
Oh,
very much.
I already lost the Scott Fishbowl, by the way, if anyone's wondering. I
Why,
have
you have
Kenny
Damian Williams.
I have Damian Williams, I have Kenny G, I got Matt Stafford, and I
You
got
realize that's a good thing that Kenny G is already on the list, right?
I don't
You're
know.
not understanding this. That's a good thing.
Good with Stafford too.
Yeah, put them all on the list.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah, what are you talking about? You want your guys to get on the list. The last thing I want for us to happen is for Tyreek Hill to end up on the list week 1.
Right.
It's it's a quarter of the season gone. Like, no,
They
I
could
want it to
die.
happen now. Get this over with
It
now.
doesn't mean that they have it. It just means that they might have been
Exactly. It could literally be 1 week.
around.
It doesn't mean anything.
Very true. I will agree with that, but
If anything, it's
long,
time to go buy Kenny G if people are thinking that.
how many people are going to opt out is what I'm very concerned with.
Don't
I thought
don't
it
make-
was Stafford.
They only got a couple days left.
His wife had cancer. His wife
Yeah.
he's got a baby. I was worried about that with Stafford. I have a suspicion that might be coming next.
I think that would be the one concern. Stafford would really leave them hanging though, man. Not that
And
Detroit's
he
like-
just put his house up for sale on that lake up in Detroit.
I know.
In my last round of the most recent dynasty I did, Chase Daniel was my last pick. So if it
Yeah,
happens,
I've got a couple Chase Daniel. I love that you said Chase Daniel, not Chase Daniels. Like everyone
That's a
right.
big pet peeve.
Oh man. Can I go with my wide receiver?
Yeah, throw a wide receiver at us.
Jamison Crowder would be my sleeper. So we talked about Robbie Anderson and how he left New York and all that kind of stuff. But even when he was there, Jamison Crowder in his first year in New York had 122 targets, which was a career high. That's without their actual quarterback in Sam Darnold, if you want to call him that. So moving forward, I do think that Denzel Mims will be the ultimate wide receiver 1 there, what have you. But at least initially, Sam Darnold is comfortable, obviously, with Jamison Crowder. Crowder finds ability to get open underneath, and that offense isn't built to really stretch the field by any stretch. So it feels like he's just going to be peppered with targets. Now, there's obviously Chris Herndon. As long as he comes back and he's healthy, things are going good there. Le'Veon Bell, obviously. But I think from a count on him type of wide receiver that late in the draft, the floor of Jamison Crowder is just immense at that late in the draft. With just knowing he's going to get 8 to 10 targets a game it's too easy to pass up.
That offense isn't built to garner first downs.
That's fine. Jamison Crowder is there for the 7-yard gain, the 6-yard gain, the 5-yard gain. That's fine. We're
It's going to be a PPR machine also. That offensive line, even though they've done a great job with Joe Douglas trying to rebuild it with Mekhi Becton and the free agent acquisitions.
I love Mekhi Becton. That's a really good pick.
As long as he stops eating. Isn't that the
No,
that's the get out of
No, let him eat. Let him eat. No, let him play tackle and guard at the same time. I don't give a damn.
If he takes up 2 spots, who cares? Nobody's gonna sit next to him on the bus. Who gives?
That was the kid out of That was the kid out of Louisville who had eating problems, right?
Yeah. Big
we've all
deal.
been there, okay?
Yeah. I don't want to be judged about my eating habits. Fitness
I'm
is
fat.
essential.
Don't give me that. I'm talking. You're gonna be looking like who is that sumo wrestler from the Replacements here in a little bit.
Hey,
But I think Crowder is a great pick. I think he could be in line for 170, 180 targets in that offense.
Easy.
So
Yeah.
that's gonna be production.
I agree, Jane.
Does mono count as a underlying condition of COVID?
I think everything. I twisted my ankle. I think now I have COVID.
I didn't know if Sam Darnold was considered high risk because of his mono.
No, you know what we did? I actually wrote down there, and I talked to him like, "Hey, Sammy, listen, just stay away from Snooki and those chicks on the Jersey Shore."
I'm sure you have him on speed dial. You guys have him on speed dial.
Yeah. Hey, Sammy.
I'm sure, hey, fella.
Hey, fellas.
Fellas.
No, so I'm actually going with
Z.
a I'm actually going with a player that's in the AFC West that I've been on since he's come into the league, but that's Mike Williams. I know, Andrew, you're a little off on him, but Mike Williams to me is just like what Sammy Watkins is for me, just like Kelvin Benjamin is for me. I don't know what it is, but those 3 receivers I pick up in every league, every Madden franchise I play. They're on my team. Like I always do, and I don't like. They had so much.
True story. The
talent.
listener league, Steve actually still has Kelvin Benjamin. So if you guys want to get in, you guys should definitely get in.
Yeah, like
That's 106.
I love the talent, the size that those three guys have, and Mike Williams fits into this for me. He has it. He just needs to put it all together. You know, he had that season where he had 1,000 yards. He had that season where he had 10 touchdowns. He had that season where he had 90 receptions. If he could put this all together, and I know they're dealing with the Tyrod Taylor, Justin Herbert, so maybe it's not this year, but 80, if he can get 80 catches, 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, you're looking at a top receiver, and he's done it. He just hasn't put it together yet, and that's why I'm still on Mike Williams. Keenan Allen's there. You're still going to have the Austin Eckler. Both quarterbacks can throw the ball. I mean, Tyrod Taylor can throw the ball down the field. I'm not worried about that at all. And then you got Justin Herbert, who probably has a better arm than that if he's deemed the starter at some point in the season. So I'm definitely going with Mike Williams there. I mean, he's going as a wide receiver 61. If you're telling me I can't get value out of Mike Williams as the wide receiver 61, that to me, that's just insane. I'm picking that up all day long.
So I've been pretty anti-Mike Williams, but I have come around a little bit on Mike Williams. I don't think it has anything to do with Tyrod Taylor, by the way. I think Philip Rivers is actually more detrimental to fantasy wide receivers when you're talking about deep balls than Tyrod Taylor is, obviously, just with regards to his erraticness and him trying to force things. I do think Mike Williams is supremely talented. He's very talented. He just hasn't put it all together. For me, I'm still going to take Keenan Allen over Mike Williams every single time.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think that ADP should ever really close because they're two different style of players. Depends on what your roster makeup is really about. For me, I want Keenan Allen because I know I don't have a question every week. Oh, the Chargers aren't on a bye, so Keenan Allen is starting. Like that's literally my decision every week. Mike Williams, on the other hand, you got to kind of like, man, do I start him or do I start this other PPR monster? Do I start this guy who's been red hot to start the year? Or do I start Mike Williams? Like Mike Williams seems so Will Fuller to me that it's like tough for me to always get on board. And I feel like he always goes earlier than I'm willing to pay for. But I mean, he did.
Makes sense.
He went over 1,000 yards last year on 20.4 yards per catch. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's stupid.
He just had 2 touchdowns. Like he puts that into 5 touchdowns, and you're looking at such a boost in the
If
wide
he had
receiver
6
level.
more touchdowns, he would have outscored Calvin Ridley.
I think like you said, he had the 1,000-yard year. He had the 10 touchdown year. I think he's a supreme athlete. I agree with you. I think a lot of people thought maybe Rivers was good for his production because Williams, being huge and a great athlete, could high point the ball over a lot of corners. But he also was Rivers always threw up those floating ducks. He never led Mike Williams anywhere. Yeah. I think that honestly.
That's because he's so used to sitting in the backyard just throwing it up to his 7 kids playing 500.
Throw it up to me, Dad.
Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
But I think I think both, like you said, I think Tyrod has a little bit of an underrated arm. I think we know Herbert has the big arm. I'd actually kind of like to see Herbert there for Mike Williams because what we saw at Oregon every now and then was that deer in headlights a little bit from Herbert, who would the pocket would collapse on him and he would kind of just chuck it up there. That could work well for a guy like Mike Williams, as opposed to a guy who might be a little bit more poised in the pocket, like a Tyrod who, has the legs. Well, and Herbert has some athleticism too, but a guy like Tyrod who might look underneath to a guy like Allen or look to dump it off to an Eckler. I think Herbert might just kind of look to launch it up there to him. But either way, I think either one's got an arm that could really help Mike Williams this year.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor is like one of the most underrated deep ball throwers in football. I mean, just because it comes from that because he hasn't played, right? He continues to get benched or whatever. Right. But
he's
from a fantasy standpoint, say again.
Tyrod Taylor is the definition of stopgap. Like that's who he's brought in to be now. Like that, he wasn't highly drafted, 6th round pick, was brought into Buffalo to be a guy just to hold the fort for a little bit. And then goes to Cleveland. All right, you're going to sit here until Baker's ready. And now he's in with the Chargers, and he was there last year, knowing Philip Rivers isn't the long-term solution. We know by next year at this point we're going to have a rookie. Don't know who it's going to be. Obviously, it's Herbert now, but he's going to be there. Tyrod Taylor is going to start 4 to 6 games, injury depending, and then it's going to be the Herbert show. And I'm not a Herbert fan. I'm not a Tyrod Taylor fan either. And when it comes to Mike Williams, he just seems like a guy that's been in the league for 10 years already. I know he hasn't. I know he's only been in the league for 3. He just has I don't know. When I think of Mike Williams, I think of Vincent Jackson. I think similar style, similar player. And so I think of him as Vincent Jackson, and both of them being in the league for the same amount of time that they've been there.
I think he plays far. I think he plays farther into the year than 4 to 6 games. I mean, he would have to they start with Cincinnati, they lose to the Chiefs, then they have their home versus Carolina, they have Tampa Bay, New Orleans, and the Jets. If they're going to lose to New Orleans, if they beat Tampa, the Jets, Carolina, that's 3-4. They're 4-2 after 6 weeks. At worst, they're 3-3. There's no way they're pulling the plug at 3-3 now with that defense.
I can't see.
And that's what sucks. Their defense. Going.
They're not going to put Justin Herbert in that situation. I think they're going to put Justin Herbert in that situation. Shorten off season, no mini camps, none of that kind of stuff. And he's gonna have to come in the middle of the season and take over at 3-3 and hope. That just doesn't make enough sense to me. Why even bother?
Then redshirt him the whole year.
Yeah, I'm a Mike Williams fan. I just really think that he has the skills and the talent. He produced is there. He just has to put it all together, and maybe he's just going to be a late bloomer. I mean, hopefully he's not a Devontae Parker because, like I said, he's still producing fantasy wise. To have a season with 10 touchdowns, you're going to put up points. To have a season with 90 catches, 1,000 yards, you're going to put up points. If he can just meet in the middle somewhere, I think there's going to be that opportunity there. The Chargers definitely are going out to win. They got to keep up with the division as it is. Their defense is probably one of the best, which I hate to say being a Raiders fan. And then they're making the right moves. They're juicing up their offensive line. They're bringing in the right talent. They signed Eckler to a long-term deal. They're doing the things, I think, to keep up, ultimately battle the Super Bowl champion Chiefs in their own division and go from there. So I really do like what I see out of Mike Williams. I always have, but again, I'm hanging on to Kelvin Benjamin too. So hopefully that doesn't kick me in the butt and I go from there. But we're already at that hour mark. Let's jump through some tight ends quick.
Wait, let me throw my receiver out there real quick if I can.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Do you want a Hunter Renfro? And Steve did not pay us for these picks ahead of time. Hunter Renfro as wide receiver 66 or Henry Ruggs as a wide receiver 56. I think if you're looking at that late in the draft, you can get a guy like Henry Ruggs, who's going to be the wide receiver 1 on that team. I mean, I don't think he can do much better than that. The guy is obviously super fast. I know Abe doesn't love him. I know I've made the Tyreek Hill comparisons, and Abe sort of thinks that outside of the speed, there's not much there. But I don't know if you guys know, I'm a big RAS guy. For those listeners who don't know, that's a relative athletic score. You can not everyone who turns out to be athletic in this league is good, but if you kind of look at the data, guys who do not show out athletically, they don't end up being that good. But Henry Ruggs has an elite athletic score. I mean, the guy, obviously we know how fast he was, but he's also got a vertical.
How fast was he?
He was a 4.27 at the combine.
Pretty fast.
That's fast. And he was also he's not huge, but he's got a 42-inch vertical jump, and he broad jumps 10 feet 11 inches. So I mean, the guy is more than fast. The guy is athletic. He will be able to jump. Cornerbacks are not just he's the size of a lot of these cornerbacks. So yeah, he's not huge. But when he's got a 42-inch vertical, he's going to be able to jump over a lot of these guys too. I think there's going to be big production out of a guy like Ruggs, especially with a guy like with Carr, who we know he can sling it. Let him go downfield and get it.
Yep. No, I agree with that. Andrew, bring up the fantasy football intervention, because this is kind of go a little bit to you guys as well. Sliding us right into the tight ends. What do you think? Is Donald Parham worth a stash? Signed by the Lions in 2019, an undrafted free agent. Now with the Chargers, dealing with Hunter Henry, sort of injury prone. What's going on there? Do you guys think it's worth a stash at all, or are you off and you're just all in on Hunter Henry this year, hoping he stays healthy?
I'm out on both of them. I don't trust the quarterback situation enough there. You know, you got two big wide receivers that are going to be the red zone targets. Yeah, Andrew's shaking his head. No, I don't like Hunter Henry because I like him as a player. I don't trust him from an injury standpoint. And Parham, no, I'm not taking Hunter Henry's backup just in case Henry goes down. I'm out on that.
I feel so conflicted. Like, I'm a diehard Chiefs fan. I feel like I'm the only one who's ever pounding the table for any of these Chargers weapons. Somebody's catching the football, man. Somebody other than Austin Eckler.
Keenan Allen. And Austin Eckler.
It can't be low on everybody. Like, somebody's going to catch it. Like,
here's the thing that I remember about Donald Parham when the Lions signed him. And I don't know much about the guy. Here's what I remember about him. Dude is 6'8".
Yeah.
That is freakish.
And again, and not to downplay the XFL, but he dominated the XFL.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's 6'8". I mean, like,
yeah.
That's gonna result in something good if he gets a playing time.
Yeah, where
the dominant XFL too.
That was almost perfect. Good thing I said that before.
Yeah, no shit.
Steve's taking credit.
It's funny because I think the overall catch-all to this is like the original question is Parham worth a stash? Parham worth a stash? The shortest answer to this is everyone is worth a stash right now. We don't know where this is going. We don't know who's gonna be opting out, who's gonna get put on the list here, who's gonna be put on the list there. So to have the 6'8", emphasize 6'8" tight end behind Hunter Henry, who hasn't proven to be healthy for a full year and forever, seems like a logical one, especially if you're a Hunter Henry, shareholder at this point. So it only makes sense to add, and he's absolutely free. I mean, you just go search him in the search bar, you're going to add him for free. But I think it's a logical stash, especially if you have Hunter Henry, and if you are unlike Abe and you can believe in the Chargers offense or the Chargers quarterback at all, then you would believe that someone's going to catch the football because they play the sport for 60 minutes. So somebody's going to catch it, assumingly.
Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler.
Okay, not Hunter Henry, who's when he's healthy, he's a top 5 tight end. Got it. Check.
When healthy? When is he healthy?
It's today. Not. That's not. Yeah, today he's not. He's not.
All right.
He's not
Well,
healthy
guys,
right now.
we are at that hour and 10 mark. We're going a little bit longer than anticipated as normal. So let's run through your tight ends, not in depth. Let's just go bulletproof around the way. Abe, who do you got sleeper at tight end?
If you've listened to me at all, you know I absolutely love OJ Howard. That is my guy. I love OJ Howard. He's Brady has shown that he can circumvent two tight ends at the same time. We've seen it in the past with him. And going forward, Gronk's only going to be there. I think he only plays half the season anyway, so OJ Howard is going to be the go-to tight end there. Now, on top of that, Gronk long-term isn't going to be there very long. OJ Howard is young. He's an absolute stud, freak athlete. I see huge things happening for OJ Howard.
All right, real quick for me, I know you guys do a lot of dynasty work, and if you're looking at the last pick of your dynasty draft or even the last pick of a redraft league, undrafted tight end out of Washington to the Detroit Lions, Hunter Bryant, was a guy that a lot of scouts, a lot of people don't know who this guy is. A lot of scouts had him as a top 100 talent. He's a little bit small, and he had a little bit of a foot injury. But the guy produced like crazy in college, super athletic, super talented. Hawk, who I love and I'm hoping for great things, we saw after the first game last year, kind of just fell off. He's been getting injured. The rumor was, the last report on him was that he's still not healthy. If he goes into the season not healthy and Hunter Bryant is playing, this guy's going to produce. He's also a guy that they can move into the slot, and he can do a lot of damage out of the slot as well. For any of the listeners who aren't sure who he is, look this guy up. This guy people thought was going to be maybe a third-round pick. Maybe the Bears could have drafted him, and he just a couple of reasons he fell out of the draft. But this guy's going to play.
Yeah, I like it. I actually had him as my sixth tight end coming into the draft, so that falls right into the third round, fourth round pick as well. I know for me it's Jack Doyle. I like Jack Doyle this season. I like Jack Doyle as long as Phillip Rivers is in Indy. what Phillip Rivers does with his tight ends is absolutely insane. If you haven't seen that yet, like I said, I don't want to get into it now. You can swing over to www.sidelinesquib.com and or dynastyhappyhour.com and check out the article I wrote on Jack Doyle and the production that comes from Phillip Rivers from tight ends. I always like to shout out the Dynasty Happy Hour. They gave us our starting chance, both Andrew and I, as writers and rankers, and helped out, and they pushed us to start our own podcast. So I like to give them a shout out as well. But you can look on both websites, both dynastyhappyhour.com and our website, sidelinesquib.com, and you can find that article about Jack Doyle and the production coming from Phillip Rivers to his tight ends. Andrew, wrap us up with your tight end. Who you got here?
You already know. Gerald Everett, baby. The tight end one in the Rams uniform. Walking into 126 vacated targets. He has a 93rd percentile burst, 82nd percentile agility, has draft capital. It was the first pick of the head coach there. He was a mega producer in college, 4 top 6 tight end scoring weeks through week 10 in 2019. Enough said, Gerald Everett is the tight end to own. He's actually the one who's athletic enough to run routes, unlike Tyler Higbee. So there you go.
I wish we had time. I can't do it now. I know there's somewhere.
I know you guys are. That's why I love being last, and we get to go. It's awesome.
I made a random wager with somebody online. I don't know who it is, but I have a random wager about the finishing position with Tyler Higbee. And, yeah, so it's a signed – we're wagering a signed Higbee jersey. He was saying he was going to be top 5 tight end. I said that he was going to be over the 25 tight end, so we met in the middle, and I think I got Higbee. It's over under 15, tight end 15. I have the over, so definitely looking forward to the Gerald Everett season.
Gerald Everett season, baby. Super excited. Can't wait.
You guys leave me Higbee. I'll take him happily.
You can take him.
Leave you Higbee? He's going as a tight end 5, bro. You can have Higbee.
Well, if it's a 4-person league between the 4 of us, leave me Higbee.
Have Higbee. You can have him.
Give me double the shares.
But yeah, I'll give you Higbee scoring times 2 every single week.
Well, guys, it was awesome having you guys on. Abe, start us off. Let everyone know again where they can find you, where they can find your work, what you guys are all about, and anyone else you want to shout out, especially your Detroit guys.
Yep. So first off, you can find us on Twitter at DFS_docket. We put out daily polls every day just to keep the fans active with it. We do, as we're doing our division breakdowns, we're doing it specifically for the teams in that division week in and week out. You can find us at sportsradiodetroit.com as well. That's where we got our start over here locally, sportsradiodetroit.com. And we're doing our thing with you guys over at the Sideline Squib. We're incredibly excited that you guys took us on. We're gonna be running the DFS point from fantasy football. I know you guys been doing the baseball and the basketball and stuff, and my brain capacity can only handle football with the DFS stuff. It's just too much going on. But we're gonna kick ass for you with the DFS. We're gonna make all you people money, and just remember that after you win that money, show us some love on the way back.
Amen.
And Josh, what about yourself? Where can they find your work as well?
Same show as Abe. We're doing our weekly shows. The DFS stuff is going to be great. Looking forward to making guys a lot of money. Pick up a little side tips at my handle at jfaber43, and hoping to get some people rich this year, huh?
Yeah, I love it. We're into it every day. We're on it. We all converse and talk. We have a lot of good things going on the website as well, with optimizers and projections and tools and articles and videos, websites, cores, you name it. So go ahead and swing over to sidelinesquib.com, check it out. And, of course, if you guys are in the Detroit area, what is it? Sports Radio Detroit as well.
Yep.
Don't want to leave those guys hanging.
Yep. They got one of the best baseball podcasts ranked in the entire country. So they're doing great work over there also.
Even if the Tigers suck.
Hey, it's unbelievable. The Tigers suck, but you know what? People here, they love their Tigers. I can't understand it, but they everything's so our guys here, they're great with the minor league show, because mostly the Detroit Tigers, even their major league team, is really a bunch of minor leaguers.
That's how it is.
And some minor leaguers. That's what we call it.
Yeah.
Take us out like this. I have a 3-legged tiger tattooed to my back. So, yeah, thanks everybody again for listening. Thanks everybody for listening to Sideline Squib. Thank you, Abe. Thank you, Josh, Andrew, like always. And we will see you guys next week on the Sideline Squib.
Sideline Squib. It's a long time coming. Steve, Andrew, what say you? This is the Sideline, yeah. Funny, it's my time then. Put me in right now then. Squib, boy. This is the Sideline, Funny, it's my time then. Yeah. Put me in right now then. Squib, boy. This is the Squib. Info stick up to your ribs. Chips be coming with that dip. Go ahead, put it to your lips.